Today we are looking at Clear, a very interesting little charity in the middle of the Fife village of Buckhaven, who are making real improvements to make their community and environment around them a better place to live in.
Well, as I say, I'm one of the founder members, so Clear's been running about 9 years, so we were right there in the beginning. We started picking litter. A few, just 2 or 3 of us started picking litter on the coastal path. Of course, we keep doing that. It's one of our favourite occupations. So we started in a small way. We've cleared tons of litter, and we still do litter picks, among other things.
Okay, what we have down here is potatoes, different kinds of potatoes, like sweet potatoes, red potatoes, normal ones. We got tomatoes up here, peas, and this one is a project what we normally sometimes do with the school kids, growing wildflowers. So what we do is we give the school kids like one of these bags, and they can do it at home as well. Mm-hmm. So and we grow some, and then sometimes we go outside.
The other area is the woodlands. We've planted about probably 5,000 trees and about 2,000 fruit trees. So there's at least a dozen community orchards around this town. Sometimes they've only got 10 trees, sometimes they've got several hundred trees. So as they grow, if nobody sets fire to them, if they survive, one day this will be a Garden of Eden. It will be very productive for fruit. We will basically, already we're growing more fruit than the amount of population in Buckhaven, and that's growing every year. Mm. And then there's the flowers. I don't know if you drove in from the south. All those daffodils you see along the road, we have planted them. Literally hundreds of thousands daffodils, crocuses. So in the spring, it's only lasts for a month. It goes on, and that's starting to change the whole. In the main street in town, we've started hanging baskets and planters. The community art side of it now, we've got totem poles, archways, ceramics, wall murals. The heritage side, people, this is a strange place in that there's no visible sign of the interesting history of this town. So we've gone in and we've established heritage trails. We've got 50 plaques around the town. We've got about 40 panels interpreting, explaining different part of what's going on.
These are community plots. These are for school kids. We also use them as well. Kids could plant anything they want in these beds. Mm-hmm. Behind you, these are all fruit trees. They get used for our own personal use. This is our orchard. The orchard contains 56 different varieties of Scottish apples. A lot of folk didn't ken that there's actually that many Scottish apple trees. And a lot of the other stuff here, these beds are getting tidied out. We had raspberries in here last year, but you need to change it because the soil starts to get used too much, it doesn't produce any good fruit. These are mainly like plum trees here, and as you go up you'll get cherry, and you'll come into more plums, and then apples, and then more. It changes that way. You've got a different variety.
Yeah.
Nothing in yet, but
is that where your bees goes?
That's where the bees are. These are just healed in apples. As you can see, we do plant lots of apple trees.
Yeah.
And we're trying to produce enough apples for everybody in Buckhaven to get fresh fruit. Compost bins. More fruit, more apple trees, more pear trees. A lot of the trees that we have here are expensive, so these are like your cream of the crop sort of thing. So that's why we heal them in here, let them get a bigger root, and then we can take them outside.
Yeah.
This was a community project held at the Beehive, and what it was for is they made houses, and you were to write down the things that you wanted to have in this area. And obviously some they wanted dads groups, galas, because there's not a lot goes on in Buckhaven, so they wanted that. The wood we get donated for Donaldson's. We use that for doing various projects. The guys have built like sawhorses, things like that. The rhubarb, we grow rhubarb, sell it in the shop to get seller. More fruit trees, obviously. Everywhere we've got a space, we put a fruit tree in.
We've probably got somewhere around 40 volunteers, and we also get a few work placement individuals, people who are unemployed at the moment coming to get some task, some experience. So I would say, 40, sometimes you might even say 50, but that varies. You get a core group, maybe a slightly smaller number who are much more active, some people who take part only occasionally. Funding is a constant struggle. This is an area of deprivation. Funding should be easier. We don't have any guaranteed funding one year to the next. It's down to basically our efforts. So, you'll find me late evenings filling in funding applications, which, maybe only a quarter or a third are ever successful.
Geraniums along here. Some of them already start flowering. And then we got one volunteer coming, and he's normally always sitting up here and putting all the ones you see up there then in different ones so that we can sell them to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a kiwi plant up there. And it's really exciting. Hopefully that's coming kiwis soon.
These are wildflowers, trees, whatever. These all go outside every year.
Yeah.
Ken, so we bring them in here, the seedlings, your holly, bring them on. When they get a wee bit bigger, they go to the braes. That's to protect the braes from slipping into the sea.
Yeah.
This is your monkey puzzle tree, guys. This thing just grows in every direction. It's okay if you've got gloves when you feel like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise you doing that with your bare hand, though, Ken. More wild trees. These are ribbon trees. We grow these for seeds. We go to the tree itself, collect the berry, you mash the berry up, get the seed out, plant the seeds, and bring the trees on. These are plum trees, the ones with the white. And plum trees, I would say white flowers. Your apple trees, mainly light white or pink. If you look straight, you'll see some of them. The ones with the white, they're all plums. We get a massive crop of plums every year. We grow strawberries in between them. We also grow gooseberries in between them.
I do think I think the community itself must take ownership and control of its doing. It must get more involved in engaging with the people who make up that community and start maybe making changes, or at least influencing the council and the other agencies about how the community should look like. One thing that we do here is called community placemaking. In other words, we live here. The council doesn't live here. The businesses don't live here. We live here. So it's up to us to say, we'd like this place to be better. We would like to shape it in a way that we think is better than it is now. And I think this model, whether it's in environment and community side, or it may be like we have others in arts or sports, it's the same concept in a slightly different way. It's only healthy. The concept is called social capital. In other words, it's the small organisations and the groups that make a society gel. Rather than everybody, going to work, going to their own house, closing, locking up, watching the TV, getting involved in their own lives. That's fine, but you have to engage at your community at a certain level. Otherwise, that community will die.
Is this, guys? This is a smoothie bike, right? So it is designed so as you cycle it, and there's a smoothie maker on the front. You cycle it, you make your own smoothie. We must, every time we take out, we get 100 kids on it, easy. And they just love it, Ken. Because when you're sitting there, you can watch your own food that you're cycling blending in front of you.
Well, I think we have two objectives. One is to improve the environment, and the second thing is to engage people and build civic pride. So you can see improving the environment, litter picking, planting, running growing opportunities, community art, heritage. You can see that we've made a visible improvement on the local landscape, and there's still more to do. But the encouraging thing is the people, getting people to take part, get their hands dirty or come along, join in some way as a volunteer or just as a participant in an open day. So in that way, they start to become more aware of, where they live, and maybe to take a pride in it, to treat it with greater respect, maybe to treat the other members of the community with greater respect. But this is community-based. We don't want to become like another big charity that needs, that relies on a lot of staff and, has quite high running costs. It becomes a struggle to continue. We would like to continue what we do. One of the challenges we will be having is, since we've planted so much, the task of maintaining it is now becoming quite demanding. In some ways it's easy to plant, but to keep maintaining, harvesting the fruit, pruning trees, keeping the flowers going, planting every year, is quite a regular ongoing task. I think we'd like to do more in the events and heritage. We don't get quite enough volunteers. We get a good number, but we always need more. So whether we can get the new blood, the new energies coming in, to some extent is up to the people of Buckhaven.
So what have we learned today? We've learned that places like Buckhaven are much nicer and have a better community than their reputations portray them, and that the community of Buckhaven, as much as the people that work in Clear, are all trying to make it feel a lot more like home and a beautiful place to live in.